Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching Wireless Sim again. Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the storm system that will bring severe weather impacts to places like Texas, Oklahoma, and even portions of the South region. We even have a threat for flash flooding again down here in Florida. I'm not really sure if we're really going to be seeing flash flooding today because we weren't really seeing it yesterday, but we will really have to keep our eye on those things, and we will go ahead and get started off with the tropics. So with the tropics, we actually do have a chance of development down here in the Caribbean, and as you do see, it hasn't really developed into a tropical storm yet, but this will likely develop into a tropical storm as soon as it passes Jamaica. But this will also head into places like Cuba, even Haiti, and then even a few other places, even heading into the Bahamas, at least the eastern part of the Bahamas. So we'll have to really watch closely, but this will definitely bring a ton of rainfall, and I can go ahead and show you guys that. And it sounds like Cuba will be getting in on 6 to 8 inches of rainfall, especially across the eastern part of it. The Southern Dominican Republic and Haiti looks like they could see anywhere from 6 to 8 inches, maybe 4 to 8 inches of rainfall across some areas. And then we're even seeing some pretty good amounts for Jamaica, seeing anywhere from 6 to 8 inches. So we'll really have to watch closely, but definitely be aware of this if you live anywhere in these islands. But we're going to go ahead and show you guys the Storm Prediction Center outlook, where we did have a marginal risk of severe weather on day 3. This is from Sunday into Monday, and this does include Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and even Arlington, Texas. So all those areas are included in this marginal risk. I was expecting this to stay a slight risk, but it sounds like this really died down to a marginal risk, so definitely not as concerning as it was, but definitely something to still be aware about, because this could re-upgrade. But day 4, again, we do actually have a slight risk possible down here to the south, and this does include quite some populated areas. This includes Baton Rouge on Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, Tyler, Texas, and even I think that Lafayette, Louisiana. So places like that are included in that slight risk for severe weather. So we'll have to see if this downgrades like what the other one did around this area, but we'll really have to watch closely. Excessive rainfall outlook, we do have a threat for flash flooding today on day 1, and this is from Friday into Saturday, so this is going to be for today. And as you guys do see, we do have it across some of the same areas that continue to see chances for flash flooding. I'm not really sure why there's those marginal risks inside the slight risk. I just call it that because they're green, but that's kind of weird. I wouldn't consider those marginal risks the slight risk, because I mean, I'm guessing they meant to do that just because there's some isolated areas that aren't really expecting to see flash flood. But we'll watch closely, but I probably won't consider those green dots. I would probably consider those green dots as the slight risk, so definitely be aware of this if you still live in those green dots. Down here towards let's just say Santa Maria and even a few other places are seeing a chance for flash flooding today also. But as we get into day 4, which is on Monday into Tuesday, we do expect to start to see flash flooding starting to ramp up, and then on day 5, which is from Tuesday into Wednesday, definitely gets a lot more widespread across the East Coast, and it does include New York, Philadelphia, Washington, Atlanta, all those populated cities. But as we look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook, 6 to 10 day outlook, pretty well below average temperatures are expected across the Ohio Valley, getting into lots of the Midwest region, so definitely something to really keep an eye on if you live in this area. This will likely impact your Thanksgiving plans for how cold it's going to be, but above average for the west coast is likely. Above for much of Alaska is also likely to as well. And then we are even seeing pretty good below average precipitation for the west coast area. So I mean, this is just gonna be something to really be aware about. But thankfully, the south region, or the places that are in that extreme and exceptional drought, aren't really gaining on below average precipitation. But it does suck that the Ohio Valley may see its drought redevelop again, just because if you look, we do actually have a, let's see, we're gonna go ahead and click on this. We're just gonna go ahead and quickly show you guys it, and we actually do have that moderate drought in play. So I mean, yeah. So if we do have below average precipitation, our drought could definitely redevelop, or even grow bigger, depending on how long we see below average precipitation for. But yeah, 8 to 14 day outlook, we do have a chance for below average temperatures across much of the United States. But even a chance for above for the west coast again, and even much of Alaska again. And I mean, I don't think we're going to be seeing above freezing in Alaska, but if we do, we may even see some flash flood threats, especially for how much snowfall we already saw in um, the most populated city in Alaska, especially for how much we saw there. And then we are even seeing a chance for above average precipitation across the south, which we do need that, especially for solar drought. And we are even seeing another chance for below average precipitation across the Ohio Valley, which kind of sucks because we kind of do need that rain. At least we could use it, but even if we don't, that's okay, because let's just hope that our drought doesn't get any worse than a moderate. So yeah, definitely be aware of that if you live in the Ohio Valley. Temperature outlook, we do have a slight risk for well below average temperatures across the south area. And I mean, this is something to really be aware about. The chance for below average temperatures didn't um, really head all the way down here. It mainly stayed up north towards the Ohio Valley, and even portions of the Midwest. But all the way down here, we're seeing more in the way of like slightly above or slightly below. So it's still something to be aware about, especially because the Climate Prediction Center did place it out, and this is from November 24th to November 25th. Precipitation outlook, zero precipitation outlooks. So everyone may wish they had a break from heavy rain, especially after all those severe weather events. At least everyone in the United States does get a good break from like snow and stuff like that. But we actually do have some slight risk for heavy snow across a lot of areas. But for how it's looking like, I think we could see this extend to the Ohio Valley, especially because the GFS model has continued to show that we will see snow, and there actually has been a change to that today. But even a slight risk for possibly high winds across New England, and this is for November 24th, and these two areas are also for November 24th into November 26th. So be aware of both snowfall and even high winds if you live in New England. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our radar, and we're going to go ahead and start off with today around 6 a.m. We're going to continue to take this forward, and as you see, we do start to see some pretty good amounts as we get into Monday, and as we continue to take this forward, we don't really see any snowfall across the Ohio Valley. I mean, maybe a few isolated snowstorms just because of those dots, but I mean, other than that, not really looking like any snowfall at all. And then we start to see another round of rain, pretty much a lot more widespread compared to the other one. And then we even start to see a pretty good chance of thunderstorms down here. And I'll actually go back so we can show you the big severe storm that's going to be coming, and that's going to be on November 19th, I think. Will it? Yeah. Don't you guys see how that's playing on November 21, which is going to be for day 4? Because right now it's November 17th. That's 4 days out. And look, guys, just look at this. Around 12 p.m., we're seeing a really, really strong line of storms, and then as soon as we get a couple of hours for it, then that immediately dies down. So not really lasting for very long. That's excuse me, not really lasting very long. That's for sure, but definitely something very extreme at first, and then continuing to die down after 12 p.m. on November 21. But as we look at total snowfall, anywhere from now to November 26, hasn't really gotten as far out as it can yet, so we may have to wait for some updates later. But as of right now, we are kind of seeing some pretty good snowfall from now to November 26 across New England area. We could be talking up to 15 inches as we get into November 26, and then we are even seeing some pretty good amounts across these areas. Not really seeing like very much in the way of feet of snow, maybe across the California mountains, but not as much of feet of snow as we did have, but definitely more in the way of snow if you live over here. And it looks like Boston, Massachusetts could see some snow too as well, which will definitely be a concern. But if we look at the precipitation, same thing anywhere from now to November 26, we are seeing some pretty active rainfall across New England, getting down into the south area. And this is past the severe storms, and as you guys can probably see, we're seeing like up to 3 inches with just that round of storms, and that could definitely be producing very heavy rainfall, which will definitely be quite a concern as we get into November 21. But as we get into November 26, looks like we'll continue to see beneficial precipitation across the New England area. But temperature outlook, we're going to go ahead and take this forward. So we start out pretty warm on our, here, let me take that back. So we start pretty warm for today, at least highs in the lower 60s, and then we'll go ahead and take this forward. The GFS model has continued to keep most of that cold air out west. I'm not really sure why, because if you guys look, this isn't really much below average, guys. This isn't really much below average. This is only like probably most likely 8 degrees below average, but just look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook. Look, well below average temperatures is what should be the key. And I know that's not issued with the temperature outlook, but it's still a really good chance for below average temperatures. And look, most of the cold air stays out west is what the GFS model is saying. So to me, we kind of do have some struggles on how this cold air is going to really play out, but we'll really watch closely, guys. And for how it's looking, we'll definitely be talking below freezing in much of the northern half of the United States. So make sure you guys do get prepared. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. Also, I would like to get to 100 subscribers in a couple of days if I can. If you guys can do it, that will be amazing. Also, if you guys would also keep leaving comments, smashing that like button, that would also be great. And thank you guys very much, and I will do one tomorrow.